We're staged for another run of nitro-fueled NHRA talk. It's The Straight Line, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts, with Marty Hough and 10-time NHRA winner Doug Herbert. Brought to you by Hercules Tires. Now, here are your hosts, Doug and Marty.
This is The Straight Line on Drag Racing. Thanks for stopping by our half hour of horsepower. Appreciate you being with us. 400 starts in NHRA National Event Competition is a major accomplishment. We'll talk to Mr. 400 today, our good friend Steve Johnson, as well as the author of a new book called Bats, Balls, and Burnouts, former drag racing publicist Bob Wilber. We're in the beams and set to launch another edition of The Straight Line. Wherever you may be, coast to coast, around the world, this is The Straight Line on Drag Racing at mrn.com. Along with four-time IHRA Top Fuel champion and 10-time NHRA National Event winner Doug Herbert, I am Marty Hough. Coming up as promised, we will talk to the Iron Man of pro bike competition, Steve Johnson and Bob Wilber. But we're heading into the Mopar Mile High Nationals at Bandimere Speedway coming up this weekend. And Doug, you know as well as anyone, Bandimere may be one of the more pristine places that we visit, one of the most picturesque and beautiful places, but it's awful ugly once you get up on top of that mountain and try to tune a motor to go really fast up there.
Well, it can be, and it can be very hot too. So
yeah.
Bandimere is one of those places where they have a cooled concrete starting line. Like they've got the cooling tubes running underneath the concrete to keep the track temperature from going sky high, where the cars don't go down the track and therefore don't give the fans a good show.
Yeah,
so
right.
Pretty neat that the Bandimeres put that in. But there's a lot of tuning that goes into running a car at Bandimere, because you don't run all your regular normal setup. It's a mile high. It's over 5,000 feet elevation. You've got to do a lot of changes to your engines. Pro stock guys, I'm sure gear ratios and all kinds of stuff, but Top Fuel cars, mostly guys used to change camshafts and change all kinds of stuff. I think they've kind of figured out a little bit better now. I think Jimmy Prock was like the first one to figure out, well, all you got to do is, the XYZ and it's fine. But it's probably a little more complicated than that, I'm sure. But at any rate, there's a lot of changes that had to be done when you're taking a car to the Mile High.
Yeah, and you've talked about it before, and basically you've got to strip down one of these cars, and then once you get past Bandimere, you got to rebuild them. But
right.
And basically, what you come from Joliet and Route 66 is probably not the same race car that you have at Denver.
And you're going to do 100 little changes with your fuel system and all your stuff, and then you have to remember the next week when you go to Seattle or Sonoma that you've got to get all those things changed back, and you've got to make sure you have really good notes. So, racing in Bandimere is always a little bit of work. It's always a lot of fun. It's a great place to watch a race. If you've never been to Bandimere, it'd be very similar to Bristol. It's a really cool place. They kind of carved out the side of a mountain and put a racetrack. It's really cool.
Yeah, and you mentioned the naturally aspirated cars. If you're in a dragster in a funny car, you can mess with the blower and turn the blower up and get more air down into it. But man, the pro stock cars and bikes both really struggle up there in trying to get any sort of horsepower. So, I mean, you really got to get creative. We'll talk to Steve Johnson about that here coming up, how to tune a bike up there. But the cars can't be any easier.
Just nothing's easy at Bandimere.
Right.
And it's just hot up there. You don't have any atmosphere. So walking from the pits to the starting line, it takes the wind out of you. I mean, it's a lot of exertion and all that. There's no air. The race cars don't run good, and the people don't run good with no air.
Yeah, and you've talked about it in the past. Just getting a car to idle there is a real challenge. Talk about that.
Yeah, nitro cars, generally, you've got a whole setup that you have to go through just to get them to idle properly at Bandimere, because you've got to change your fuel system, your barrel valve, your throttle blade adjustment, and also doing a burnout. All the cars usually do burnout with a burnout stop. You have to change your burnout stop when you go to Bandimere, because the throttle has to be open a little bit more to do a burnout. So there's all these things that you have to change, and then you have to remember to change it back. So it's It's a tough place to go there and race, and to make sure you have your act together the next week when you go down to a sea level track.
Yeah, absolutely. But as Doug said, it's one of the more picturesque places that we go on the tour, and one we're looking forward to this weekend. And as promised, coming up after the break, we will talk to the Iron Man of Pro Stock, Mr. 400 himself, Steve Johnson, coming up next.
If your vehicle isn't stopping like it used to, visit O'Reilly Auto Parts for the Summer Brake Deals event. Take advantage of the O'Reilly Auto Parts Do It Right rebate and get a $25 O'Reilly gift card by mail when you buy a set of Brake Best Select pads and a pair of rotors. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Being there matters. And your United States Navy protects and defends America on the world's oceans. Around the globe, around the clock, Navy ships, submarines, aircraft, and most importantly, tens of thousands of America's finest young men and women are ready to defend America when piracy threatens global commerce, when disaster strikes, or when called upon by the Commander-in-Chief. Your Navy is there. When it comes to protecting and defending America, being there matters. And America's Navy is already there.
When the smoke settles, the entertainment never stops.
And that you're supposed to be having fun.
On race weekends, your favorite NASCAR personality is an everyday superhero.
The Superman colors with Jimmy Johnson.
But when they leave the racetrack, they're just like everyone else.
So I have to challenge myself more to stay balanced with my personal and professional life.
I'm Susie Armstrong. Join me on a daily journey as we discuss the hot topics and engaging personalities of NASCAR Nation. Ned Jarrett's World of Racing, weekdays on the Motor Racing Network.
Welcome back to The Straight Line, brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Here's more with Marty Hough and Doug Herbert.
Thanks for being with us here today on MRN.com. This is The Straight Line along with Doug Herbert. I am Marty Hough. And as we mentioned, back at Joliet, Steve Johnson hit his 400th national event. Quite an accomplishment. I mean, there's not too many people out there that have run in 400 national events. And joining us on the telephone line right now is the man that we want to call Mr. 400, Steve Johnson. How are you, my friend?
Oh, I'm so dependable I have to go. Okay, it was nice talking to you guys. See ya.
Steve, tell us a little bit about your 400 start, and I've been there for a bunch of those starts.
Right.
I guess that just means one thing: we're getting old, Steve.
Yeah, we're definitely getting old. Today, I was talking about. I was doing a school presentation today in Laramie, Wyoming, at Wyotech, and talking to all the students. And I said, "Look, I might not be the perfect guy to talk about branding. I might not be the perfect guy to talk about how much money I have and my jets and all. But I can tell you, you can't quit. You just can't quit because your soul has a taste. And when it gets a taste of quitting, it's going to promote you to quit on other things. It might be it could be a girlfriend, it could be raising money, it could be your kids, it could be, mowing the lawn, it could be anything, so it's like you just can't quit at anything. So, I mean, who the hell would go to 400 races in a row? That's what they didn't talk about. It's not missing any races.
Steve, do you remember the first one?
Absolutely, like it was yesterday. I don't remember some of the ones in the middle. Now, of course, I remember when when the Traxxas girls are all hanging on me, and I remember I remember all the money that we got from our sponsors, and I remember my good looks. I remember all those things, but I might not.
Your memory must be a little foggy, Steve.
Yeah. No, the first race, there was a guy. We were street racers. We were street racers. Larry Dixon and I don't ever remember Karen Stouffer or Jack Beckman street racing, but we all hung out and I was really involved and I've told the story before where Larry was racing and we were all cheering for him and he came back to get the celebration and there was a helicopter above him and he went right on by us and we're all like laughing and we're like, go get him, Larry! And it's like in jail later, it's like, wow, this thing, people die and you go to jail. Let's figure out about a drag strip. So, it's my street racing thing got me into this, and a street racer said he was going to take me to the race and he flaked, and so I put my bike in a crate, built a wooden crate, and we gave it to a company and they shipped it. They dropped it off in the pit, and motorcycles back in '87, we didn't get any kind of pits to that you could drive on. They were gravel and dirt, and there was a flatbed trailer, and they just dumped off the crate right there next to a flatbed trailer, and that was my pit area.
Wow.
Well, things have changed a little bit. One of the things that you do a lot of that is pretty neat is going and talking to kids and working a lot with youth and the trade schools. Tell us a little bit about some of your relationships there and how that's helped you, at the track, even with sponsors and so forth, but working a lot with youth and trade schools and so forth.
Yeah, people, one of the corny lines is youth is our future and stuff. Well, we're in Denver, Vandermeer, and it's a mile in the air. The engines can't breathe, and it's amazing what the crew chiefs come up with to try to generate, ET. And some of them, they put all their things together. They make all their decisions in the pit, and they come into the staging lanes, and then they make their last-minute decisions. They'll bring blower drive pulleys, and Doug, more. You can talk more about that. But the bottom line is when they deal with the actual track temperatures and what's going on with the atmosphere right before they run, that's when they're making their last-minute decisions. And so I talk to these students about their decisions and how they are represented by they're a brand and how they want corporate America to see them as a brand. And it's like everybody could be smart, but it's like, can you get along? Do you show up on time? Are you an investable commodity? And those are the kinds of things that I talk to them about. And they're educated. If you're paying $30,000 for school, why wouldn't you show up every single day? You know what I'm saying? It's like some of the dumbest
You're a motivational
things that
speaker.
happen.
I know. And Steve, one of the other things that you are is you're one of our original board members for Brakes.
Oh yeah, that's I love over and above contributing to the safety of our youth and actually anyone that's listening to this show right now. I mean, you could be the safest driver in the world. Some knucklehead texting or doing whatever, and they run into you. It's like, wow, what the hell, man? It's like, I'm a great driver, and I just got mowed into. So, helping people, you're over 25,000 kids we've helped, and that gets done with a team. Doug and I always laugh. It's like, could you imagine if this would have been us still in the basement, thinking about this? We'd still be training like 4 people, a weekend, and it'd be in a rent-a-car that we were supposed to turn in the day before,
Exactly. Steve, when we talk to you, I mean, we don't normally talk about the big numbers and that sort of thing. But when you have one in your career, you don't mess around. 2 wins in the U.S. Nationals, 2 wins at the Gator Nationals, 2 of the biggest races that we have in our sport. The first win at Indianapolis, you didn't really win until you won. Can you explain how that all happened?
Yeah, well, in the finals, we, as everybody knows, there's a motorcycle. It's got a front wheel. And one of the biggest things in our sport that very few people understand is there's an offset front end. So the cars, if you measure from the rear axle to the front, on one side of Doug's car is going to be 300 inches, basically, from the wheelbase, and on the other side, it's going to be, 293 or something or 298 or something like that. And that gives them 2 more inches of rollout. So as the one tire rolls out of the beam, the other one's still in it because it's offset. And all cars in drag racing have that. But the motorcycles don't. Plus, the motorcycles have this hollow front wheel. So at the end of the day, when the motorcycle went down the track, it happened in the finals, the beam never saw my front tire. It went right through my front tire, and it didn't trigger until the fairing. And so when they announced the winner of Matt Smith, they watched it in slow motion replay, and Mike Dunn, thank God, he says, wait a minute. You always freeze frame at the finish line. Matt's not winning. Steve's tire is on the finish line. I mean, you can see it a mile. It doesn't even matter what angle you're at. It's still one tire's on the line and the other one's not. So anyway, they reviewed it, and they gave me the trophy a couple of days later. And it was the most controversial win in NHRA history.
You're always in the middle of trouble, Steve.
But see, if you get up there and everybody knows I'm a suck up to the sanctioned body, but I love what I do and I'm proud of it. You know, that's a big difference between just loving what you do. You know, and I'm talking to these kids, and it's you know, whether you're doing a radio show or talking to kids or you get up every day working your plumbing job, it's like somehow you got to find stuff within your realm that makes you happy. It's like I did the best job I could today, but when I get off, I get to go work on my car, hang out with my kids or something like that. Life we have to manifest better things, and educating our kids to how to drive better and how to be better people in society and not be entitled. I'm in Denver. They did a whole thing. There's 10,000 jobs that are needed in the construction industry here. And it's like they can't get kids. You know, everybody says, hey, you know, we'll get a job. You know, it's so screwed up today's youth with the job. And there's actually people that want jobs. They're just not qualified.
Hey, Steve,
And,
tell us about your race team. I mean, 400 starts. That's taking a lot of money to go to 400 races. Are you still out hunting for sponsors right now? How would potential sponsors get a hold of you if they want to help you go to a race or two?
The sponsors that we are engaged in need to be they need to think about what they want, and when they realize that what we have to offer is not motorsports and not racing, but it's engaging in an activation, whether you're at a trade show or at a retail store, whether you're trying to create social media or whether you're trying to engage young people. You know, the disposable money on a young person is astronomical each week they have of how much money they have to actually spend. So they're a great target. And, you know, I'm Steve at stevejohnsonracing.com. That's my email. And, you know, those are the things, obviously, I'm passionate about. Not just putting a sticker on the bike or painting it, you know, Slick 50. Slick 50, they called me. They brought back their old classic product. You can get it at O'Reilly now. It's like it was a no-brainer for them to come to me. Now I do commercials. We do 1,000 commercials, radio commercials. So you can be part of those commercials through sponsorship. You can have hospitality at the races. You can engage potential customers and bring them to the races and feed them. And it's like now you can tell them about your product and not have to worry about their phone going off or getting sidetracked with other things. There's just lots of ways to create a value through racing.
Steve, one of the things that you're also passionate about is Pro Stock Motorcycle, and you've been kind of the face and the voice for the pits down in, the group of Pro Stock Motorcycles. There's been a lot of talk here of late, nothing official, but Pro Stock Carve probably going to get cut down as far as schedule is concerned. Where are you at as far as the Pro Stock motorcycle schedule? 16 races right now seems to be really good for you guys. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I've always said that, you know, when we started off, you know, there were 5 races and 6 and 7. They gave us more, 8, 9, 10. They keep giving us more. Our popularity grew. We got sponsors. You know, we're 11, 12, 13, 14, you know, when it got 16, all of a sudden, you know, it hit it was 2007 and the economy went to hell. And it's like, what the hell's going on? And so they let's be careful here with our growth. And so we're just watching what's going on. And for us, 16 races is fantastic. The Pro Mod guys, they love their series. We have heard, you know, they love how many races that they're doing. The Pro Stock car guys, you know, I don't know how that's going to unfold. It's an incredible class with performance, but you know, your radio show, you know how much it takes to put on a show. It's an incredible amount of work, and so, you know, if you can't command the money, it's hard to pay the help. It's hard to get to the races, and you know, the show has to be analyzed a little bit, or at least your efforts have to be analyzed, and we're happy with 16 right now. We've got some people that are not full-timers. We got plenty of full-timers, but 16 is great for us, is to answer your question, I guess.
Well, Steve, 200 miles an hour is kind of like the next big thing for Pro Stock bikes. How close do you think they are to cracking 200?
Well, 200 miles an hour is obviously the last barrier in motorsport. As far as drag racing is concerned, is what we feel. Obviously, it's our class, so we're very passionate about it, and I'm screaming and I'm screaming and hollering every day about, is the cameras there already? Could it happen? Could it happen? It's like, Sonoma could be Sonoma. It could happen. Angel, is rumored to have said that she could have won it, but they had a little problem on their run last year, or she would have already went 200. Jerry Savoy and the White Alligator Racing Team, they've got plenty of performance. You never know about the Harley guys. Mr. Crafty, Steve Johnson. You never know when he just pops out a one and done kind of thing.
And
I'll tell you though, if it's me, the world's going to stop because I'm going to be on the Tonight Show.
Yes.
I'm going to be social. I mean, it's going to be I'm going to be Kenny Bernstein's got to pull over.
Steve, thanks for coming on the show today. We appreciate it. Congratulations on 400 career starts in NHRA, and good luck out at Denver.
Thanks, you guys. Don't forget we're on Fox. Check us out. My Twitter handle, SJR_racing. Follow me on Twitter or Instagram, all that kind of stuff. But thanks for supporting the show. Come to a race, and you got my email address, Steve at Steve Johnson Racing.
That is Steve Johnson, Mr. 400, as we like to call him, and going to 401 this weekend in Bandimere. When we return, we'll talk to one of the behind-the-scenes guys in drag racing. Now author Bob Wilber will join us next.
Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires will get you there. Whether you're running on dirt or running a job, our dependable, high-quality tires are the perfect fit for your needs. For unmatched value, selection, and warranty with industry-leading road hazard protection, there's only one choice: Hercules Tires. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com or call 800-677-9535. Hercules Tires, ride on our strength.
I'm Steve Letarte, STP auto expert and former crew chief. I know what it takes to keep engines performing at their best. STP's latest breakthrough additive, STP Ultra 5-in-1 plus Fuel System Cleaner plus Fuel Stabilizer, delivers 3 times the amount of cleaning agents versus premium gasoline and helps keep fuel fresh during storage. For over 60 years, STP has been on the cutting edge developing products to help engines run better, longer.
One bottle contains 3 times by weight the amount of cleaning agents compared to 20 gallons of the leading premium gasoline.
It's Rob Tanner, host of America's Tailgate Party, NASCAR USA. Join us every weekend as we get you set for NASCAR racing with 2 hours of the hottest hits in country music. The Motor Racing Network's Woody Kane is here with NASCAR news, and MRN pit reporter Steve Post stops by to talk a little racing. We'll have features and highlights you can't get anywhere else, so be here each weekend for NASCAR USA on the Motor Racing Network.
It's The Straight Line, brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Now, once again, here's Doug and Marty.
When we book these drivers here on the Straight Line, normally we go through a publicist or a PR agent that gets in contact with the driver. We agree on the time, and that's how those appointments are made. One of the guys that I've worked with for many, many, many years is on the guest line with us right now. He's the new author of a book called Bats, Balls, and Burnouts, and he is on the telephone line with us right now, and he is Bob Wilber. Bob, thanks so much for joining us. We really appreciate your time, and congratulations. This is a really cool work.
Well, thank you very much. It's great to be here. It's great to be on with you. You're right. We worked together for a lot of years, and Doug and I go way back as well, so this is a real honor. And, yeah, it was basically 1 solid year full-time writing the book, another 5 months editing, and it's been out now almost 2 months and still selling really well on Amazon, so I'm pretty pumped up about it.
That is awesome. A long time. Gosh, yeah, we've known each other for a long time. You're working with Del Worsham, Tim Wilkerson over the years. Give us a highlight, Bob, of the book and where people can go to get the book and so forth.
It's my autobiography, and it starts when I'm 3 years old on my mom's lap in a AAA minor league ballpark in Charleston, West Virginia. And at that young age, my little brain could process that was my dad in the third base coach's box.
Wow.
And even then I knew this is going to be interesting. And my mom was a radio personality. She worked for the St. Louis Cardinals for a while. And then lo and behold, when I was in high school, she opened her own PR agency when I didn't even know what PR was. So you can see where a lot of my DNA came from. I did my best to follow my dad to the big leagues. He played almost 10 years in the major leagues and spent his whole life in baseball. But I didn't make it that far, but I did get to play professionally for a while. But I got a lot of my mom's genes, and I knew that by high school. I was already a writer in high school, and all the way through college. I had a college scholarship because of baseball, and then went off to the sports marketing world. And at the closing in on the age of 40, saw my first drag race. Then spent 20 years as a PR rep for as you said, Del Worsham and Tim Wilkerson, and it was just a great ride. And at the end of 20 years, I was really still loved the sport and still loved the people, but I was getting tired of the travel, and it just seemed like a good time to write it all down. It took me a year writing it full time, unpaid, which is not a good gig, but
no.
But I was doing it not for the money anyway. I was doing it to get the book written, and I'm glad I did.
Yeah, you mentioned you saw your first drag race, and that came at or later on became the general manager of Heartland Park, Topeka. One of the places here over the last couple of years that we've seen some of the most amazing drag races that we've seen in years with record-breaking runs. Did you ever think that at Heartland Park they were going to be going 338 miles an hour?
I would never have had a clue about that. And I actually was the general manager at Heartland Park when I saw my first drag race.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I got hired by Bill Kentling because of indoor soccer. I had been the general manager of a couple of indoor soccer teams, and he was the commissioner of the Major Indoor Soccer League. And when he took the job as president at Heartland Park, he called me and said, I want you to come here and work with me. And I was thrilled to do it and learned on the fly because I didn't have a clue what I was watching. But, the first time I stood back there on top of the tower and watched a bunch of Top Fuel and funny cars running and looked down at my clean white shirt and saw it all covered in rubber, I learned right then what drag racing was all about, and it's all about being there. It's just, and you guys know this, it's one thing on TV, it's another thing to read the stats. It's totally a different animal to be there that close and to feel it and smell it, and fell in love with it immediately.
Hey, Bob, being in drag racing for 20 years like you went to a lot of drag races. What's your favorite, one of your favorite drag racing moments, or the favorite?
Oh, it's probably 2005 with Dell when we won the Skull Showdown and then doubled up and won the race. I write about it as best I can because that was such a big, big moment, and it was such a nervous day on Monday trying to win the race after winning the showdown. And it's where I came up with the concept as I was writing that not only that final round was so huge because it was for a lot of money, but every final round at an NHRA race is, in baseball parlance, a walk-off winner.
Yeah.
You know, you go to the starting line, you have no idea. The cars are running, they're staging up, and you have no clue what's going to happen next. And then one team sulks away and the other one goes crazy. Every single drag race is a walk-off. And that is, in that particular situation at Indy, to double up and win all that money, my gosh, I could hardly breathe. That's how nervous I was. It was there was nothing else quite like that.
Yeah, that was a good one, man.
Now, coming up on the NHRA Tour is the Western Swing, and as a matter of fact, along with the Western Swing, you're going to be at quite a few drag races to promote your book. If I'm not mistaken, you're going to be at Denver this weekend and then on to Sonoma, correct?
That is correct. I have to miss Seattle because of a family wedding, and I'm going to skip Reading as well. But other than that, I'm hitting all of them. And I was in Joliet for the last race. That was my first race out since the book came out, and that was really fantastic. It was a great experience. Signed a lot of autographs and signed a lot of books. We have them on sale at the track in the souvenir trailer that Wilkerson uses.
At the Stupid Fast souvenir trailer. So if you're down in the pits, head on down to the Stupid Fast Racing Apparel. Go grab yourself a Tim Wilkerson t-shirt and grab yourself a book. And Bob is going to be there somewhere, and he'll probably come and sign it for you. And you'll have a double header there for you as well.
The best thing for them to do is just I'm only going to be at these races on Saturday.
Okay.
I'm trying to cut down on my travel costs a little bit and not spend too many nights in hotels. So grab the book and just come on over to the Wilkerson pit area. That's where I'll hang out between qualifying sessions on Saturday. So people all figured that out in Chicago. They were lined up about 10 deep waving books at me, and that was a pretty neat deal.
Cool.
Very cool. And you can grab it at Amazon.com or the usual outlets online as well. Bob Wilber, thanks so much for your time. We really appreciate it. Good luck with the tour coming up in bats, balls, and burnouts, and it's a great work. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you, guys, and I guess I'll see you all in Charlotte, huh?
Yes, absolutely. We will be there.
I'll be looking forward to it.
That's Bob Wilber, and we will wrap up another great edition of the show coming up.
When your battery goes dead, everything can come to a stop. Don't take a chance on getting stranded. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and get your battery tested free of charge. If your battery does need to be replaced, O'Reilly Auto Parts can help you find the exact Superstart battery that fits your car or truck at a guaranteed low price. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
If you or your family love the freedom of swimming any time of year, if you love sharing good times and making great memories, or if you want one of the best total body workouts ever, then it's time to discover the 3 C's of your very own endless pool. The first C is convenience. Imagine swimming year-round in your own private swimming pool, installed indoors or out, just steps away. The second C is comfort. With sculpted spa seats and your own adjustable temperature, you can easily escape the stress of your day. And the third C is cost. Your endless pool is an affordable luxury at a fraction of the cost of a regular pool. And here's a bonus C, choice. Because when you call for your free Endless Pool Idea Kit, you'll receive information on our full line of pools to suit your budget and location.
Call now for free information. 800-283-8089. 800-283-8089.
You're listening to The Straight Line, brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Now, back to Marty Hough and Doug Herbert.
Big thanks to Steve Johnson and Bob Wilber for joining us. And here in my greasy little palms here is the newest Brakes book. Which is really cool.
From our Brakes golf tournament a few weeks or a couple months ago. Pretty cool. We got some neat characters on the front. Looks like you there. Slugger Labby, Bobby Allison, Steve Johnson.
Steve Johnson. Yep, absolutely.
Felix Sabates, Ron Rivera. We got some great guys on
yeah, so this was really cool. And this was from the golf tournament, which is one of the biggest fundraisers for Brakes. The biggest fundraiser is coming up in September 16th with the Brakes Gala.
And it's selling out quick, so go to putOnTheBrakes.org to learn more about that. If you are going to be in town for the Charlotte race in September in the fall, it'll be Saturday night this year at Quail Hollow Country Club, and it's going to be a whole lot of fun. I've got some weight to lose to get back into that white suit.
Oh,
and
man.
I'm going to be doing the Johnny Disco. Woohoo!
So you're actually going with the disco look.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I
mean,
can't wait.
The deal,
yeah,
well,
sure.
See, the deal for the gala this year is Saturday Night Live #Staying Alive, because Brakes is all about keeping kids alive. So Staying Alive, we thought that was going to be a fun thing, and it's always been dress up and fancy and all that. This year it's going to be like disco, so everybody's going to wear their bell bottoms and so forth. Jimmo is going to do a dance. Oh boy, it's going to be awesome. Jim Oberhofer will do a dance.
That is, I can't wait for that. So a big thanks to Steve Johnson and Bob Wilber for joining us. For Doug, I am Marty. We will talk to you next week right here on The Straight Line.
You've been listening to The Straight Line, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. The Straight Line is the show for drag racing fans and was brought to you by Hercules Tires. Tune in again next Thursday on MRN.com and the MRN app. The Straight Line is also available on demand in MRN.com's Media Center, on our Facebook page, on YouTube, and in iTunes or the Google Play Store. The Straight Line is a production of the Motor Racing Network.